evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No Limits. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth, Motor City Madmouth. Pleased to be welcomed back by William Person, who obviously was on Team USA athlete, representing bobsledding, Jennifer Horsful as well, and Candy Evelyn. First of all, before we go into the episode, I want to wish some get well wishes to my longtime friend, former University of Miami quarterback Bernie Kosar, is dealing with some severe medical challenges with Parkinson's disease, as well as a liver transplant. That has been delayed right now because he's dealing with an infection. And Bernie and I were texting today a little bit, and I'll be talking to my man Bernie tomorrow. So Bernie, I love you. I'll be talking tomorrow. Just keep the faith. I've seen him. We met over at Super Bowl last year. Again, we reconnected, I should say. So Bernie, I'm thinking about you, and we'll be on the phone tomorrow. So when I was telling him that I was having to deal with my situation with Alzheimer's, he was giving me lots of advice about Alzheimer's. And listen, what the heck's the matter with you? And we went back and forth and started sharing horror stories. So Bernie, I love you. Keep the faith. And I'm going to let everybody know that we're all thinking about here on the network. So with that said, tonight, we'll just talk about this episode. It's called Keep It Simple, Stupid, Going Back to Basics. And what we're going to have is a one-on-one conversation with William Person. Candy and Jennifer will have their takeaways as well. And what do you know? Stephen Reichel is on as well. And it looks like Stephen's going to be involved in something that he probably never anticipated he was going to do. But that's all right, Stephen. We're pivoting away from boxing tonight. So go with the flow and introduce yourself to these kind of people. We're going to be talking about hyperbaric chamber tonight, and you'll learn a little bit about this. You can add a little pizzazz to it. And you and I are going to discuss the boxing agenda over the weekend or next week. But we're going to go back to basics on this. Stephen, welcome to the broadcast.
Appreciate you having me, brother, as always.
All right. Well, anyways, we're talking about the hyperbaric chamber, and I'm going to provide what it does. And William, you're going to tell us exactly what's going on, and then Stephen can provide his insights as well. All right, so the hyperbaric chamber shrinks the oxygen molecules to teeny tiny oxygen big molecules that penetrates the tissue walls in the body, especially areas that have become inflamed, obviously flooding body and body. Every tissue needs oxygen. Describe exactly, William, what is going on when you're doing this treatment.
Well, actually, it was first explained to me this way. It's like when you get in the chamber, it makes your body believe it's like 7 to 9 feet underwater. That's the chamber I have. I have a 1.3 atmospheres, which is one of the lowest pressure chambers, which also a lot of people say is the best for mental health. Some people say you should be a little bit higher. But what it does, it makes your blood believe it's kind of like underwater. So your blood is more like a gas. And when it's like a gas, it can now get through all the blockages. You can get to all the different places, oxygenate, and send blood to wherever it needs to go. And I really believe that's why a lot of these athletes are having such big problems. Anybody with concussions issues, because like it's the only way to remove that fluid from the brain. And if you don't do this, what else do you do to remove it? And there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing out there for us to no other way to do it. So that's the science behind it. And actually, just recently, I did an interview with some people from the UK, and they told me it's against the law for them to deep sea dive in the UK. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But he didn't know anything about the hyperbaric chamber. He was just talking about some of the military people having such big struggles. And what he told me was they go to this little island and they go deep sea diving. He said they go down, and he said it like this. It was so comical. He's like, yeah, they go down there for a long, 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 long time. And he said, really a long, long, he was like really emphasizing that long, but I was really getting goosebumps because what he didn't know is this machine behind me, every time you get in that machine, it's called a dive. They're actually simulating exactly what we do here. Or actually, I'm simulating what they do. And so it's the exact same thing. And it's just another confirmation that the same people with these CTE issues are getting treatment. They either get it from this, or they're getting it from the going down deep sea diving, and that's it. That's the only treatment that they will give you for this. And so if you're not getting one of these two, that's it. You're just kind of probably starting to fade away like I did. Yeah.
Stephen, what's your takeaway from what you're hearing about the hyperbaric chamber?
I mean, I've heard different, as he's saying, different athletes use them for different things. when I'm interviewing a lot of the combat sports fighters, bare knuckle fighters, a lot of them help them using for recovery reasons. To just some of them have the ones that they just have like it looks like leg wraps to help them with their legs, and I've also seen ones that almost look like tents. Then they go in there and it simulates stuff like that. We've seen stuff. Now, if people remember, that's one of the reasons why Tyrell Owens got back to and made it to the Super Bowl that 2004-2005 season after he broke his leg, is because he literally spent the better part of a month in the hyperbaric chamber as much as often as he could. So I think a lot of the athletes use it for recovery. It's the first I'm hearing a lot of hearing other people using it for the brain health and brain recovery for CTE reasons. That's the more we learn about it, the better it's going to be. But it's just my exposure to it. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Excellent points. Okay, let's move on to the military. We all call them trained killers. They're coming back with undiagnosed and untreated brain damage, coming back home with brain deterioration more and more, unfortunately. They're getting written off as a PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, in the 90s, and it's called shell shock syndrome, Vietnam, back in the 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, my Uncle Bob was in Vietnam, and I know a lot of other people that have been affected by this if you're in the Vietnam War. So back to you, William. Describe how this treatment has been able to help the veterans. I'm sure you have to have some knowledge about what it's done to them.
Yeah, there's actually a company called treatnow.org. And they actually reached out to me at one point. They wanted me to help them get legislation through the state of California so that insurance will start to pay for this thing. See, people know about the treatment now. It's starting to get around. The same way I found it through Joe Namath. Other people know what it is. Problem is, it's not. It's if you don't have the money and you can't afford it, it's too expensive. Like some people need 30 days of treatments and two sessions a day. That's about $12,000.
Right.
And so most people are not going to go out and pay that money because they just don't have it. There's no payment plan for this thing. Insurance won't cover it. And so we're trying to get legislation to change in California, at least to start with, so that the insurance will pick it up for these veterans coming back who need that help. Yeah, so that's what it's really about, is really just getting them some treatment, because right now they're getting these diagnoses of PTSD, and then once they pass and they check their brain, then they found out they had CTE, so they were probably misdiagnosed just like the rest of the people.
Stephen,
yeah,
what's your takeaway as far as the effect that it has on the veterans? We know that, unfortunately, listen, we're coming off of Veterans Day, and I can tell you right now, when I think of the veterans, I feel that many times they're short-sighted with a lot of the things in terms of respect levels. I really do believe that that's the case, and they don't get treated fairly when they come back in society. But yet we as a society expect so much out of these people, and yet they go through this. What's your takeaway of how all of this fits in, Stephen?
I mean, listen, again, we just came through Veterans Day. My father flew planes in, World War II. My uncle was a reserveman during the Gulf War, so it's definitely near and dear to me. But yeah, there's not as William said, that a lot of these guys can't afford to get the proper treatment, and that's a real thing. It doesn't matter if we're talking about service members. It doesn't matter if we're talking about everyday people. We all have problems being able to get access to the proper care, regardless of what we're doing, just because of where we are as a country right now with the medical care. It's not enough. It's overcharging for this and not allowing people to have access to XYZ. But to being able for our veterans to have access to this type of stuff is definitely invaluable. When we as you're talking about, like a lot of people have different types of diagnosis depending what war they were from, where they were serviced. There's no baseline for it. It's all over the place. I think when we look at it,
Yeah.
they're not being taken care of properly. Period. Like where we are right now as a country, there's too many people who fought for our freedoms, living on the street, fighting for meals, just to eat to survive for the day, let alone having proper medical care. So being able to be diagnosed, to be able to get them to a VA to have what they need is a task in itself. But as far as this goes, man, like whatever we can give them to make them feel better, to have self-knowledge of what's going on with themselves, regardless if it's PTSD, shell shock, whatever name you want to wrap it around, as long as we're making sure our service members are being taken care of regularly, not just put them in a hospital for a few weeks, give them a bunch of diagnoses, a bunch of pills, and then throw them back out to the wolves, so to speak. It's never enough, especially if they do have some type of brain injury, regardless if it's mental. If a lot of these guys got stuff from not just being being injured. The actual shock of explosions itself has caused CTE, regardless if they were lucky enough to just get some shrapnel, if they have the unfortunate thing, lose an arm, leg, whatever. They're still dealing with that aspect and not dealing with the fact that they already have some type of brain injury. And unless they're the one that comes forward with it, or if the doctor happens to find it, we have these people walking around and everyone's just like, oh, well, they're crazy from their times at service. No, they're not crazy. They're crying out for help. And a lot of times those voices aren't being heard.
Yeah. And you know what? That's bunch of excellent points, Stephen. Let me continue on that thought. Again, I hate using the word trained killers, but that's what they are. I mean, period. They're just simply trained killers. And it's really disheartening when I see a military guy obviously commit a crime where he's killing somebody else, but he doesn't realize what he's doing because they're doing certain things, whether they're breaking into a home to get medicine or painkillers or whatever the crime may be. Nevertheless, it's an innocent life taken just because they haven't had the opportunity to be acclimated and welcomed back to society. Now, I'm going to get a little controversial here, and I normally don't do it, but this is one time I'm going to really blow it. Okay. Once upon a time, we have a young lady by the name of Brittany Griner. Okay. Brittany Griner. Really? Seriously? Really? This woman who gets locked up in Russia, and we're training her for one of these big Russian people that they wanted back. So we end up putting her in a treatment center to get reacclimated. Okay. And we're putting her just a basketball player. Okay. Nothing against basketball players. And we had to train her for a big, and yet we can't get our military people properly acclimated to get the proper help when they get back to our area. Sorry, people. Not trying to, whether I like this woman or not has nothing to do with it. But we have to understand that these holidays like Brittany Griner, Memorial Day and Veterans Day aren't written after Brittany Griner, okay? They're about the people that sacrifice themselves day in and day out. Am I picking on her? No, but the reason why I'm bringing this woman up is I've seen so many types of things where she's making boneheaded statements about the country, the United States, okay? And all of a sudden she doesn't appreciate where she's at, and all of a sudden she comes back to society, but other people like Paul Whelan should have been back there way sooner than her, all because she couldn't go ahead and control what she got caught bringing in there to begin with. I'm not trying to open up a can of worms with this person at all. But I want to just round into a point here in this particular situation where we can let her go to a rehab center, make sure she's all checked out, but we got these what we call trained killers and all these people that we can't get them back in a place where they can acclimate a little bit before they even hit their families, because then their families have to acclimate and deal with this kind of stuff. It is rough stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I got brain damage for bringing Brittany Griner up on this show, but that's why we call it No Limits, because you never know where I'm going to come up with this stuff. But this is something called Common Sense 101. These trained killers, and all they do is protect our freedom. Okay, we can't get them on track, but we let a person dribbling a basketball go back into one of these things. Oh goodness, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we discuss last week that there was 3 military mass shooters over the last 6 weeks? We talked about that already.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had 3. We had I put a video out about it. I told people it was coming. I said I got a feeling there's going to be a wave of veterans who are going to be doing mass shootings. And I put that video out. If you go on my TikTok page, One Man with a Chamber, I'm wearing a red Team USA shirt. I look kind of disheveled because I'm just walking and talking, And so I look bad. I'll be honest. But
I get disheveled talking about Brittany Grant.
Yeah, but I told people,
I get disheveled when I put a cotton picking hard-boiled egg in a microwave and blow it up for 3 minutes. Go ahead, continue your TikTok. Patty White, give a dog a bone. It is what it is.
Yeah, so go back and fact check me. What I said is there's going to be a wave of military mass shootings coming. And I did that because of my TikTok channel was going crazy that day because of the CTE suicide note guy who went up to shoot the NFL office. And so I made the video, I put it out there. The next day I hit court. I spoke to the judge about part of that case, part of that shooting. And then on the courthouse steps, I was telling people like Jennifer, she was there, about that I fear this wave of mass shootings coming from our veterans. So we got to get ahead of this thing. So exactly 1 week later, a gentleman went to a bar in Anaconda, Montana. He shot 4 people and he went out. He ran in the woods. He was hiding out in the woods like in the Rambo movies. He was there. They couldn't find him for a whole week. As they caught him, another gentleman, active military guy, went onto his military base and he shot several people on his base. And then fast forward 2 weeks after that, which was about 3 weeks ago, we had another veteran go up to a Mormon church in Montana. He set one half of the church on fire. He went to the other side and started shooting. So when they actually stopped him, there were bodies missing. They pretty sure they probably perished in that fire at the time. So these people, they're and they're being misdiagnosed as well. The military has admitted that these people who have came back who was given PTSD diagnosis, when they checked the brain, they had CTE. And so the problem with that is this: when I was struggling with this stuff, and my teammates, everybody was trying to, take their life. It was suicide. So everything's about suicide. But when you're a trained killer, what does your mind tell you to do? You're going to be doing things that you normally do, which is probably, you're protecting things. You're standing up for yourself. You're a killer now. You're a killer, and you're the best killer in the world. And so at some point in time, we've got to get these guys. We got to deprogram them a little bit and get them the help that they need. Because I looked at the suicide numbers for 2020, 2021, and 2022. There was about 150 veteran suicide difference for each year. But it was around 6,400 veterans per year took their life, which comes out to about 17 and a half, 18 veterans a day are killing themselves. And I know what that feels like, because like I said, when I was at my lowest with this stuff, when the doctors was telling me they didn't know what it was and I'm fine, but every symptom they have, I had. Every symptom that the NFL guys have, the military guys have. We all have the same symptoms. It's from the same thing. It's the compression waves. It's the G-force waves. It's from concussions. And the symptoms are identical. So for me, I'm telling you, if we got it the same way from the effects of the brain and the symptoms are the same, then the treatment that I went through, which I'm going to get in trouble for even saying the word treatment, that brought me back, thanks to Joe Namath, it's got to be the same for these guys. So I'm thinking about how many of these guys perished because they didn't just go hop in this chamber right here. And on the day when I tried it the first time, it was 1 hour in that chamber, and my lights, I was like 10 years of cloudiness at that time, went away, and now I'm back forming sentences and talking, and now you guys can't shut me up. So, but it's so simple. It is so simple that it's disturbing that so many people that are, they just perishing to this. And
here's the thing. We can say anything we want about all we're talking about. What the reality is, to get help, you have to be transitioned into a place. And unfortunately, trained killers, military, of course, they get about as much respect as Rodney Dangerfield. They don't get it anyways. And why am I bringing up Rodney Dangerfield? He never got respect, and that's why. But that's what they don't get respect. They, think I'm satirizing this. No, I'm really not. There's a serious part of me, and that's why I brought this series on in the first place, because I am serious about it. I got brain trauma. Not that anybody would ever know it, except the PR guys to get a tongue lashing if they don't get my PR people. Then they'll think I'm being normal. But still, there's a few of them that screw it up. But and that's what Candy has some buffers and everything. So it's okay. It's just being normal. But it's only too many. There aren't too many people, PR people, that deal with me anymore these days, because I'm a tyrant. No, I mean, if you don't get it right, I get mad. No, but all kidding aside, we just have to understand that these people have to get acclimated again.
Yeah.
They need to get intercepted before they can get back in the real world. That's all there is to it. So no matter how well you want to slice this thing, it doesn't matter. You got to get acclimated. That's why I went off on Brittany Griner. We took more pride in a basketball player than we take pride in our military. That's sick. Really is. All right, one other thing I want to talk about the mission. We'll go to a station break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the size and cost. Steven, anything you want to add before we go to that I've already talked about, or have I done a good job telling people that don't like Brittany Griner?
I mean, I don't think a whole lot of people enjoy the fact that how she was brought home, what had to be given up for her to come home because of her own silliness. But I'm not throwing more wood on the fire here. It's already burning on.
We don't have to. I'm just making a point where we're talking about.
We're going to hit the station break. Let's come back and have some more craziness, brother.
Well, okay. So, yeah. But meanwhile, we're going to go to a station break. Then we're going to talk about his mission, about the fact that you're trying to get people to come to your place to get the treatment. And then we're going to talk about sizes. And then Candy and Jennifer will have their takeaways. I know Jennifer is loving the fact that my voice is really rolling, because if you think this is a wild show, one of your wildest ones, wait till you see the Sports Exchange, boy. You're going to feel like you're in the wild Southeast, Midwest, wherever you want to call it. So, all right, Candy, station break. And then when we come back, no more talk about Rodney Dangerfield. A couple more segments to go before I bring you and Jen in here as well. Go ahead.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morgenroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. There's even a picture of a young Scott with a young Muhammad Ali. The book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you'd like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, you can call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it, like us, and then share us with all your friends and family, and turn on the notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Thanks, Scott. Back to you.
All right, we'll go over to the mission here. All right, William, the floor's yours here. All right, what's your plan? Your plan is to try to get people to come to your place and get in these hyperbaric chambers. I don't say it as nice as Jennifer does. I just go there and just go. When it comes to describing this thing, I'm like a rough piece of sandpaper. Go ahead. Take care of it.
Well, actually, we're going to do more than just hyperbarics. We're going to do there's a lot of red light technology out there. They have other breathing treatments you do while you're on treadmills and on bicycles. I mean, there's other things that we're going to do to enhance those hyperbaric treatment as well. So it won't be just that. Just make sure that was clear. But my facility, we already know what we want to open up at. Already have access to the building. We're set up officially 501c3, so we are now for profit, and we also have a crowdfunding out there. So we're trying to hit it from every different angle. Find us on One Man with a Chamber, or look up my name, William Person. It's easy to find me. And guys, I promise you, if you know my story, I was in dementia. I don't know how many of you have parents that's going through that, and I'm back. And it took me 1 hour in that chamber to turn things around, but I did a lot more sessions before I felt normal. And I want to make sure that I'm not misleading anybody. It took some time. but it's a blessing because I promise you, I wouldn't but 2 steps behind my teammates who started taking their lives. Matter of fact, once I could understand why they were doing it, I knew I was in trouble. But yeah, we want to open to the public, guys. We're starting with our veterans and our athletes, but eventually we want to be open to the public because this hits like even domestic violence with our housewives who had some issues with their spouses. They're coming back with CTE diagnoses now, and it's just scary. But the sad part is every population that's dealing with it, it's all the same symptoms. And I just want people to understand that. It's all the same symptoms, so it has to be the same treatment.
All right, so let's go over this very basically. You were talking about sizes and costs. You have a personalized 1.3 ATA. That's the one you use, which is like 8 to 10K. Some might include red light therapy and multiple person chambers. Individuals cost about 150K to 180K, 3.0 or higher. Just give me an overview of what this is all about so you can relate it to how individuals can go ahead and purchase it. And after we get done with this, I'll let Candy and Jennifer take over, and Stephen can also provide his takeaways, and we'll lump that segment amongst the three of you. Go ahead.
Okay, if you look at the chamber right behind me, this is a 1.3. It's a soft shell. It's not made for the wear and tear. So what we're going to do, we're going to go higher in pressure. We're going to be right about a 2.0, I believe. And we're going to be using the metal chambers. For example, let's say I had this chamber right here and I took it to the place and we only use that. I could put one person per hour in there. And usually that's such a low pressure. You really need 90 minutes. So not even doing the full, you're not getting the full access out of it. Compared to the ones we want to get is maybe a 4 to 6 person chamber. If I get a 6 person chamber and I'm open 8 hours a day, that's 48 sessions that we can run through there per day. And that's the difference. Like these machines aren't cheap. This one behind me was 20 grand, but the ones we need are like 50 to 60 grand, and yeah, that's on the low side of it. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. You know what? We're going to go to Candy, Stephen, and Jennifer. We'll go to your takeaways and we'll bring up the GoFundMe page. After this show, we're going to have the Sports Exchange around 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to have ourselves a great show lined up as well. So, all right, takeaways. I'll let Candy, you can go ahead and lead the three. And what you got out of what we've done.
There's a lot to digest there. And I think one of my biggest takeaways is that he's trying to raise money so that he can help all of these people, as many people as he can. And when he talks about raising the money, it's not just for the equipment. He literally wants to fund all of your expenses to get you there and then to treat you. So it's not just about the treatment. He's holistically taking the approach of helping, whether it be a veteran, a sports enthusiast, someone that just anyone off the street that needs that kind of help, that has brain trauma and injuries. That's one of my biggest takeaways, is that he wants to do it holistically. Stephen, you got a takeaway that you want to highlight?
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a lot to digest. Love what William's trying to accomplish. What I would say is not everyone's going to reach out, as we're, we've seen over this past week. It doesn't matter who you are in life, the ability to actually sit down there and say, I need help, I need this. A lot of guys aren't going to do that. A lot of athletes aren't going to do that. I don't know if you're aware or know the situation. Look at former UFC champion BJ Penn. He's been arrested almost 10 times in the past year.
Mm.
He's been making wild claims that the government has replaced his family with clones, taking pictures of his mother like that wasn't that she's never had this, or her ears are shaped differently. This mole wasn't here. Like he needs help, and he's even said in the past that he believes he has CTE. So I mean, with what he's trying to accomplish, like I would love to see to get somebody like William in the same in the same room with somebody like a BJ Penn to some because no one's helping this guy right now. Like not anything against the UFC or they're not a lot of these fighters know what they sign up for when they sign their contracts, when they get in their cage ring, etc. But when we talk about a lot of time with the NFL athletes, too. Like after they retire, a lot of them don't know what resources they have that could potentially help save their life, extend their lives, etc. I'd love to see somebody like William and BJ be able to get together for the education part of it, but also to see if this guy can be helped. If he does have CT, if he does have brain injuries, or just something, or some type of psychosis that he's going through all the trauma that he's had in his life. So it's one of these things that, people like William are few and far between to try to openly, try to find a way to fund these things, because not a lot of people want to do that. They don't want to put in the legwork. They just want to find ways to throw money at it and have it go away. Not everyone's going to want to be a champion, to be an advocate for something like that.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right, Jennifer. All
right.
All day. So go ahead.
A miracle.
I gave you a lot to work with tonight, didn't I, Jen?
It was fabulous. It was a fabulous show. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to say, if they're going to throw money at it, throw money here, because that's exactly what we need to get this whole movement off the ground. Because the fact of the matter is that hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a wonderful therapy for any kind of traumatic brain injury, whether it's, from a stroke to CTE, the full gamut, right? And people get head injuries all the time in sports. And I think that that's something really we need to really start paying attention to. And so that my takeaway was the treatnow.org, who's trying to work with insurance to get it covered, which would be fabulous. But in the meantime, people are suffering. And one of the things that William has said repeatedly is that the person who needs help, Steve, you just sort of reiterated this. The person who needs help doesn't see it in themselves. They think something else is going on, or they blame it on something else. The symptoms that they suffer from are so far from the injury that it's hard to make the connection. And so people are suffering needlessly. They need help, and they need to get into a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. At least do 10, start with 10. And then if you can work your way up, if you can do 30 straight days, do 30 straight days. But that's why William is raising this money, so that people can get care without the burden of cost. And that is the greatest gift you could ever give to somebody, especially somebody who's suffering. Their family's going to recognize it. Their loved ones are going to recognize it. The people around them are going to recognize it. And we need those people to start getting the people in need into care. And I think those are my biggest takeaways. So thank you very much, Scott and Candy, or maybe I need to keep talking because they're not here. But what else can I say?
I still go on the back end no matter what. That's why I love it here. We got so many people that can pine off it. Like I said, I hope somebody reaches out and tries to help somebody like BJ. But there's other guys that are involved in combat sports that don't really have the access to things. I've seen a former boxer and kickboxer, Gary Goodridge. He's openly said that he's had CTE for the better part of 10 years now. Luckily, he hasn't had these lashing out moments or any type of family issues there or anything like that. But even former world champion Chuck Liddell was knocked out 7 times in a row right before Dana White forced him out, made him retire. There's not a doubt in my mind that he has CTE. Another one though is Wanderlei Silva. He's another one that I believe has CTE. You can just tell from how he talks. He has a nasty slur. So it's It's one thing. It's one thing for us as people who consume, sports on different levels to kind of see the difference in some of the combat sports athletes. But as I said, not everyone's going to know that this is something that I need to have looked at to have this checked out and have those resources to go do that. As I'm sitting here just naming combat sports athletes, can we imagine how many NFL athletes that go through this and we just think all right, look what's going on with Antonio Brown right now.
Absolutely.
He was just arrested for, attempted murder. How he ended his career, basically, as they say, he was crashing out, ripping his jersey through, walking off the field, how he did it in the middle of the game. there's not a doubt in my mind that he has some type of a brain injury. So there's no dollar amount that could be put on it that could help these guys at this moment, which is, like I said, why I love to see what Williams doing to kind of help broaden that thing, giving more outlets and information out there for some of these athletes who, like I said, the hardest thing to do is get them to come in to sit there and say, I think I have a problem. Because
yeah.
Just go ahead, William.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I always tell people this is a loved ones. Only your loved ones are going to save you. Because if you look at the last, I think it was the 8 NFL suicides, they're all living separate from their spouses. And they all said the same thing. They just, the women were saying like they were getting a radical behavior, just radical, they were explosive and then calm. And they were like this gentle giant until they weren't anymore. And so, and then there was only one gentleman I know, he was still living with the family, but he was living in the back room. Like he wasn't even affiliated with the family anymore. So this is the only one, a loved one needs to be around you who's going to help save you, because we cannot see it in ourselves. It was in my face. I still couldn't see it. Yeah.
I think the craziest one was that was clearly a scream for help was what Junior Seau did. Yeah. He tried to kill himself 3 different times. He drove himself off a gorge in California. Didn't die. It took 3 different attempts for him to actually end his own suffering. And it's like, and he is one of those guys who have this large family, and sometimes the family doesn't even know what to do with it. Like, yes, as you're sitting there saying, the family is going to be the one that saves them, but sometimes they don't have the knowledge and the resources to be able to sit there and say, hey, let's go talk to this person. Let's see if they can get you the proper help. I mean, we just seen an NFL player who's currently was in the league. He's only been in the league 2 years, and he took his own life.
Right.
So
we'll be talking about that at a later date as well. I did have a few technical difficulties. Thanks, Stephen, for keeping it rolling as well. Like that, those are some of the. I'm glad that Steve was able to join us as well, because he's going to be a regular on this show here, Jen. So I know Stephen always brings an added component there. He's one of the few people that can actually tolerate my wackiness, anyway. So sometimes. For him to, he manages better than most of them do, anyways. But anyways, for him to come on here and I'm blowing a gasket about Brittany Griner, I guess it's only normal for this guy anyway.
So, I'm glad you brought her up though, man, because I tell people all the time when I was touring with the Olympic team. Like people always want to do dumb things. I was like, hey, if you do anything stupid outside this country, you want to know who the snitch was? It was this guy right here. Because anything you do outside this is an international incident. So yeah. Right. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Listen, we can all enjoy our things, but the reason why she was there, they should have left her ass there, because that's just stupid.
I think so too. That's why I went ballistic here. Everybody's all used to the hard boiled.
I don't think it was ballistic. You just voicing your opinion, man. Like I said, my thing is we had to put a dangerous person we had behind bars and send him back over there just to get somebody to come back over here and trash our country, trash our veterans. Behave in the manner that she does. Listen, I think a lot of people that deserves to be saved that weren't able to have those opportunities just because she was a mildly popular basketball star doesn't wash away what you did. Like, listen, you know what the laws are. You know what it is when you go to other countries. Some countries don't play around. They're looking for you to trip up so they can catch you in a situation and have something to hold over the United States. For her to sit there and bring a vape pen in the rush, she's a knucklehead. They should have let her sit there for another 2 years or whatever it was.
See, I was waiting for Jennifer to mention Brittany Griner, but she's such a nice lady. She just lets a guy like me, who's a villain, hammer this woman.
You're better at it.
I'm better at it. Everybody says I'm better at it. That's for sure. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm not good at this. Candy put the GoFundMe page up there so everybody can get an idea what this is all about. And we, of course, have the Sports Exchange at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, a loaded show. Go ahead and explain to everybody what that's about, Candace.
GoFundMe. This is the way you can send money to William to help the cause. He is trying to raise money. It's GoFundMe /93 FF9C6E. Again, that was GoFundMe /93FFs 9C6E. And you can donate whatever you want to donate. If you want to donate $1, or if you want to donate $1 million, anything they'll take, and it's so that they can holistically help these people with their injuries. So please donate.
And it's that erratic behavior, like we talk about what are the families looking for when someone behaves differently, when you can't explain the erratic behavior, when things just seem off. That's the time for a conversation like, hey, maybe we should get you checked out and see if you have something going on from the head trauma that you received, however many years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff. Well, I'll tell you what a great show we've had here. Really enjoyed it, Stephen. As always, the professor and the people, everyone knows I'm the professor, but he's a pupil that taught me an awful lot of stuff about technology that I never visualized in social media. But I still have 47 years and I have the gray hair to show it. I've been in here a bit longer.
I don't feel bad. Ben got hacked today. He lost his X account. He had to create a new one.
Oh, did he really?
That's no joke.
Yeah, so yeah. But I'll tell you what, Steven's the best. That's why he's my heir apparent, just so everybody out there knows that when time comes to my situation could get tougher, I got Steven here prepared to take care of it, and him and Candy will do just what they have to do. But meanwhile, what a good show. We have Sports Exchange coming up. I'm glad we were able to keep it down to basics and talk about the big thing that a lot of people are using in a lot of different sports. That's a hyperbaric chamber. And of course, always every opportunity I get to bring up to the military, I'll do it. And now we added a little bit of cost and sizes. So I'll go along with the flow. And of course, Candy and Jen always great with their takeaways. And of course, the GoFundMe page. It all came together very nicely. So with that said, No Limits will be out for a couple of weeks. Obviously, the Thanksgiving holiday and William's got other things he has to take care of next week, but we'll be back and better than ever in a few weeks after that with another episode. So the one thing I've always said, I got to educate, entertain, and learn. And that's what this whole show is all about. I want to make sure that everybody gets as much information, bits and pieces at a time, because we don't want you to be on overload for sure. So on behalf of Candy Ebling, Jennifer Horspool, William Person, and Stephen Reichel, my name is Scott Morgan, Route the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of No Limits. Sports Exchange is coming at the top of the hour. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Comments are appreciated anywhere that you can go out there and put them, and we'll make sure we get the answers to the respective individuals for whom they are intended to be with. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless. Have a good night.